So, only the adepts understand the true meaning of the symbols inside the lodge, but Mr. Pike has opened the door to the true meaning, but only a little. This is from page 772. If you desire to find and gain admission to the sanctuary, we have said enough to show you the way. If you do not, it is useless for us to say more, and it has been useless to say so much. But notice that Mr. Pike has said that there are many secrets inside his book. I believe that statement is only partially true because of all the secrets in the book concerning themselves with only one secret. I believe that I have discovered that the book does indeed contain only one secret, and I will attempt to make that secret known to the reader as I progress through this review. So, if the new Messianic brother wants to know the secrets, he has to think about the words, because the secret meaning will not be explained to him directly. This quote comes from page 781. If you reflect, my brother, that it is impossible for anyone to imagine that either common salt or nitrate could be extracted from rainwater or sulfur from pure gold, you will no doubt suspect that some secret meaning was concealed in these words. He repeats that thought on page 370 and then again on page 218. And I'll quote from the book right out of this one. You, the Mason who is reading this book, have only received hints of the true objects and purposes of the mystery. Be content, therefore, and await patiently the advent of the greater light. Quote, it is for each individual Mason to discover the secret of Masonry. Masonry does not inculcate, meaning repeat them often, her truths. She states them once and briefly, or hints them, perhaps darkly, or interposes a cloud between them and eyes that would be dazzled by them. Notice that there appears to be one secret inside the words of the book. Pike mentions the secret once again. I believe that he reveals what that one secret is elsewhere in his book. The following quote is from page 219. Let's see, I got that. The right raises a corner of the veil, even in the degree of the apprentice, for it is there, declares the Mason, that Masonry is a worship. And Mr. Pike explained why certain men will not be able to understand in the hidden and concealed words in his book. He wrote on page 224, the Mason believes that God has made men with different intellectual capacities and enabled some, by superior intellectual power, to see and originate truths which are hidden from the mass of men. So, the book was written for only those with superior intellectual power because the rest of the world would not be smart enough to see the truth. Mr. Pike was aware that only certain men would be able to understand the hidden meaning behind the words inside his book. But, as will be shown, he has revealed enough of the hidden language so that all who read his book can now know just exactly what he has concealed inside his words. In other words, if the average Mason reading Pike's book is not bright enough to figure it out by himself, the Masons who know the secret will not and cannot assist him. They have attempted to tell him, but if he did not see it himself, they cannot help him by saying more. So here, the Mason learns that some men are able to understand the secrets than others. It follows, therefore, that they would have the right to keep his knowledge from the less intelligent by the use of secrets. And, as will be shown in other quotes from Mr. Pike's book, there are other Masons who are not able to understand the Masonic secrets. That is what the adept Masons have done, keep the secrets from the less intelligent Masons. Pike explained on page 225 that men with superior intellectual powers have a mission. 225. The Mason believes that God of this world, has arranged this glorious but perplexing world with a purpose and a plan. He holds that every man set upon the earth, and especially every man of superior capacity, has a duty to perform, a mission to fulfill, a baptism to be baptized with, that every great and good man possesses some portion of God's truth. Which he must proclaim to the world, and which must bear fruit in his own bosom. Unquote. But Mr. Pike is saying that only other men of superior intellectual power will be able to understand his proclamation of their purpose. The average man on the earth will not be able to comprehend the hidden meanings of the words that conceal their mission. So, the adepts are concealing the truth from the world by using false explanations of the words. He wrote that on page 104. Quote, Masonry conceals its secrets from all the adepts and sages or the elect and uses false explanations and interpretations of its symbols to mislead those who deserve to be misled, to conceal the truth which it calls light from them, to draw them away from it. This thought that the Masonic secrets are concealed from even the majority of the Masons is consistent throughout this book, as the reader hopefully is beginning to discover. But the most startling discovery as to how they conceal the true meaning from their fellow Masons is the fact that Mr. Pike writes that the Adept Mason simply lie to them. He admits that the Adept Masons are intentionally lying to their fellow Masons. He wrote this on page 819. The Blue Degrees, the first 3 degrees of both the York and the Scottish Rite, called the Blue Lodge, are but the outer court or portico, defined as the covered porch of the temple. Parts of the symbols are displayed there to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by the false interpretations. It is not intended that he shall understand them, but is intended that he shall imagine he understands them. Their true explication is reserved for the adepts, the princes of Masonry. So Mr. Pike is admitting that the Adept Masons actually lie to their fellow Masons. They intentionally conceal the truth and explanations of the symbols from their brothers in the order. It will assist the reader to remember that Mr. Pike himself wrote the rituals to all of their 33rd degrees. So if anyone knows that the Adept Mason lie to their fellow Masons, it was Mr. Pike. So, the Mason who wants to know the true meaning of the secret cannot understand them by directly hearing the explanation of the symbols being offered to him. He has to learn that the Adept Mason is lying to him, and that all the explanations of the symbols that he is being offered as he proceeds through the various initiation ceremonies are lies. So he must truly reflect on the meanings of the words, because his fellow Masons will not tell him the truth. And this practice of intentionally lying to the Mason's initiate has been keeping with the history of the Masons since even before their traditional founding date, reportedly in 1717. Mr. Pike wrote that the parent organization of the Masons, a group known as the Knights Templars, commonly referred to as the Templars, reportedly founded in the 1100s, had 2 doctrines as well, one for the Masons and one for the Masters. Mr. Pike wrote on page 817, let's see if I can find that page. Oh well. The Templars, like all other secret orders and associations, had 2 doctrines, one concealed and one reserved for the Masters, the other public. Before I end the discussion of the secret, I would like to discuss another quote from the other books written by Albert Pike. This is found on page 53 of the 32nd degree discussion in Legenda. Masonry permits the utterance of false interpretations which serve the double purpose of misleading the ignorant, the idle, the indolent, whom it is desirable to lead astray. Emphasis by Epperson. So, here, Brother Pike says that those brothers do not see the secret are ignorant. I will leave it to the reader to decide whether or not this is an example of brotherly love. But in conclusion, keeping truth from the fellow Masons is not new. It is around 900 years old.